Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
2024 will be remembered as the year of KD in AZ, where our beloved NBA team simply can't function without Kevin Durant, and where Kenny Dillingham has become the new breakout star in Arizona, along with the entire sport of college football. And now the KD in Tempe must conquer one last opponent and one huge obstacle, namely the reputation for Valley sports teams to break our hearts, to come up short in the biggest moments. He and the Sun Devils must find a way to defy disappointment. So welcome to another epic weekend of football in the Valley, a weekend where the Cardinals can seriously goose their playoff hopes with a victory as well. And while you could argue the Sun Devils are already big winners, securing a title game berth in their first year in a new conference, in a year where they were picked to finish last, while also securing sustainability in a brave new future, none of that matters tomorrow, a day when the Sun Devils must be like Bill Murray destroying a flower bed in Caddyshack, and by that I mean Cinderella story, about to become Big 12 champion.
Cinderella story, tears in his eyes, I guess.
Tears in his eyes, about to become Big 12. It's in the hole.
It seems like we've had a theme for Friday shows for the last few weeks, like huge sports weekend.
Yeah, how about it? And we nearly pulled one off last weekend. Had the Cardinals been able to hang on and beat the Vikings, it would have qualified as maybe the best we've had.
And by the way, we have, and everything's so jam-packed locally that we're not going to get a huge opportunity to talk about what happened on Thursday Night Football. But did we just see, between what the Cardinals did at the end of the game in Minnesota and what Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions did last night, late in that game, I don't know if it was absolutely 100% bonkers, out of your mind, crazy what Dan Campbell did, or if it was the ballsiest thing I've ever seen.
Well, when it works, it's gutsy.
Yes.
That's the word that I've seen all morning. Gutsy.
And it almost blew up.
Right. And yes, as we've discussed,
Jared Goff gets his foot stepped on. If you don't know the situation, Detroit's in position to win the football game. They're at the 21-yard line of Green Bay with like 40 seconds left. And they're facing a 4th and short. And instead of kicking the field goal on 4th down, Dan Campbell says, I don't want to give the ball back up. And they go for it, and they make it, and they effectively melt the clock so that Jake Bates' field goal was the last thing that was going to happen in regulation, make or miss.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
No, you're right. But that's five 4th down attempts in one game, and they made 4 of them. That's their identity, man.
Yes.
And they stick to it. And I admire that. As you said, that play, Jared Goff falling to a knee, if that were college football, he'd be down right there.
Yeah.
And then the Packers take over the chance to win the game. So, yeah, I agree that a lot of Cardinal fans watched that and said, that's the way to do it, JG. That's what you should have done in Minnesota. Gets another chance this weekend, and he can put the Cardinals back in the fast line. As for ASU, you had mentioned repeatedly that this is the biggest game in nearly 30 years, and I completely agree with that. Biggest game since the Rose Bowl. The idea that this could be our greatest Cinderella story ever, I vibe on that. I really do. And I get the 75-76 Suns. Somebody on Twitter even responded to us yesterday that they still have a Cinderella Suns album on vinyl.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
So that team was a Cinderella story. But if the Sun Devils get into the playoff, win a game, maybe 2, maybe make a run, this could be the all-timer.
Oh, I don't want to obviously get way ahead of things, but I feel really good about ASU's chances tomorrow. I think they're the better football team. Now, they got to prove it over the course of 60 minutes. But if that occurs and things transpire the way that they could, we might be talking about a bye week next week. We might be talking about, and can you imagine what 2 weeks from now would be?
Insane. Incredible.
Leading up to a quarterfinal game at the Fiesta Bowl?
Well, again, we're going to get a real clear indication of how viable that is tonight because UNLV Boise State is tonight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that game is close, because the game's in Boise, optics are going to matter, and there are serious college football analysts who seem to be split on the idea of can ASU leapfrog Boise State 15-10 if both teams win. You heard Brent Yormark talk about there's no way that our conference needs to be respected a little more than that.
Yeah.
And I agree with them. So this is going to be really interesting. You're right. There could be a bye week and a home playoff game essentially for ASU.
Essentially a home playoff game.
Which would, it's truly the word that I've been using that I wrote about that's often misused, surreal.
Mm-hmm.
And this has really been the working definition of it.
But even in talking to Kenny Dillingham, he's been so consistent in his energy and his demeanor since he got the job. You have to wonder, okay, he's still one of the youngest head coaches in the country, if not the youngest at 34 years of age, year 2 on this big doorstep to elevate this program. And the first thing he says was, I asked him, what does the Big 12 Coach of the Year mean? Absolutely nothing.
Well, yeah.
And didn't even qualify it with all due respect.
Yeah.
He actually had a definition for it. It's a vote for the most overachieving team. He's so realistic about everything.
That award will mean nothing to him. Well, it won't mean nothing to him, but it in the moment where he's at, he's playing for something much bigger.
Here's the answer.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, the guys told me after practice yesterday, and I said, okay, cool, let's go try to win a game on Saturday. Like, I could care less. The Coach of the Year award is essentially a overachieving team award. We were probably the most overachieving team in the Big 12 this year, and that's really what that award is. So, I mean, it's a group thing, and our guys are excited to go play this weekend.
The afternoon show, I think Burns and Gamble put out an interesting poll question. Jarrett's poll questions are, what's your main takeaway?
I haven't done that all year.
They put out a question.
They're about sandwiches.
They put out a question that said, basically, if you could know for a fact that one of these two teams will win on the weekend without playing the games, would you take that? I'm kind of paraphrasing the poll question. It's basically like if you had a chip, and that chip meant one of the teams, Sun Devils or the Cardinals, will win this weekend. Would you cash that chip in? Or do you go through door number 2? I think that's the way they phrased it, and just hope that both teams win. I thought it was an interesting conceptual question, but to me, I feel like getting greedy this weekend. I feel like the Sun Devils should win this game. I'll be very disappointed if they don't. And I feel like the Cardinals should win on Sunday.
That's the disappointment, is that they could win this weekend, and like you said, they could get a bye week before a semifinal playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could lose.
Quarterfinal.
Yeah. Or they could lose this weekend and have to get ready to play like Schleppy Tech in the Holiday Bowl or something. Talk about it like you know what I mean? Like a letdown, come down bowl game, which is still a good bowl game. They still have 10 wins, but
Vinny, I think they'd be in a very good bowl game. It could be BYU again. It could be Colorado, as you pointed out.
Yeah, because they're still representing the Pac-12. Whoever, if ASU loses tomorrow, they're representing the Pac-12 in a bowl game.
Big 12.
Conference.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Pac-12.
They're still tied into the Pac-12.
Right.
Going back to that poll question, though, cashing the one chip to ensure one team would win, I'd cash the chip in.
Would you?
I'd cash it in for ASU tomorrow.
But I don't think
you don't get to choose.
You don't get to choose.
You're assured that at least one of the teams will win.
Oh, here you go. Here's the question. In front of you are
thought of this poll question.
In front of you are
not Gambo, you know that.
In front of you are 2 doors. Door number 1, a guaranteed split between ASU football and the Cardinals this weekend. 1 win guaranteed regardless who it is. Door 2, the chance of both teams winning or both teams losing. Which door do you go in? Door number 2 for me, clearly.
You want to know how I bet you
my head hurts now?
I bet you they answered that. Wait, say that again.
Jarrett, I would like to apologize to your poll question criticism.
Thank you.
Sometimes straightforward works a little bit better.
Okay,
it's an interesting question.
I thought it was good.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.